thanks for joining me today. This is day 6 of Christmas in July, and I have on my desk here a few of the products that I'm going to be featuring in today's card. I'm going to be using one of my absolute favorite items from the new catalog. This is something, or from the holiday catalog I should say. This is something that I am so excited about. Now this probably just looks like a little piece of brown cardstock, but there's something actually very special about this cardstock. Some of you may be familiar with a company called Coordinations, and Stampin' Up has partnered with them to create this awesome cardstock. Now you can, I don't know if you can see this on camera or not, but there's a little bit of a texture on one side. It's almost like, it looks like window screens, and then the back is smooth. And what this is it's actually a coated cardstock. So the core of the cardstock is one color, and then there's this coating on the top of it, so that when you distress it or sand the cardstock, you get a really amazing two-tone, kind of tone-on-tone look. So this comes in packets of 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock, and it's available in Cherry Cobbler, Early Espresso, and Gumball Green. I'm going to be using a new Textured Impressions embossing folder today. This is called the Lacy Brocade folder. And then we're using this one a la carte stamp here that is called the Heart of Christmas, and I love this. It's a nice oversized, really very attractive sentiment that you can certainly use as a sentiment, but I'm going to feature it today as the focal image on my card. So to get started, I need to run my cardstock through my Textured Impressions embossing folder. So I'm placing the cardstock with the textured side up on, I call this the back side of the folder, and I call this the front side. You notice this one's a little bit smaller, and also this is where the design is sort of raised, and over here the design is pressed into the cardstock. So we're just going to line this up, and this folder is pretty easy. You don't have to worry too much about things being square. So I'll just go ahead and sandwich that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and run this through my die cutting machine. And here you can see all I did was just run this through in the embossing folder, and you can already start to see that lighter color. That's the color of the core of the cardstock here. You can already start to see that peeking through the coating on the top. Another exciting thing that's offered in the holiday catalog, along with the Coordinations cardstock, is what's called the Stampin' Sanding System. And this is just a great little squishy, comfortable in your hand little foam block. And there is Velcro on 2 of the sides. And you get, with that, you got 4 little pieces of nice fine grit sandpaper, and these have kind of fuzzy felt on the back, and so they'll stick to the Velcro on the sanding block. So I'm just going to use this smaller portion today, and let me zoom in a little bit here. Okay, and now I'm just going to go in with my sanding block and just really, really lightly start slow. You can always sand off more as you go. I'm just very, very lightly sanding the top of this cardstock, and you can see that gorgeous image coming through in that core color. Now, like I said, just sand very lightly, because you only want to sand off where that embossed image is, or else you're gonna lose the pattern. And you just keep going, you just keep working until you have achieved the result that you like. You can sand off as little or as much of that top coating on your cardstock as you like. And I think that for my project today, that is a look that I am very happy with. Now you can see on my desk here, this kind of makes a mess. See all these little pieces of cardstock, little shavings. And Stampin' Up! Is offering something to help you with that, and it is called the Coordinations Dust Buddy. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on it yet, but it's a sort of a sticky, it looks like cheesecloth, and it's got a tacky finish to it, and you can use it to wipe your surface to pick up all these little bits of dust. For now, I'm just going to use a wet paper towel. But I really can't wait to get my hands on that item. I think it sounds like a great product. So I'm just going to clean up my surface and I'll be right back. And again, here is the Heart of Christmas a la carte stamp. And I stamped that in chocolate chip ink on the large label shape from the Apothecary Accents. I am just in love with this die. And then I stamped around the outside the outline portion only of the holly branches from Watercolor Winter, which is the stamp set that I used for the poinsettias in day one. I have scored and folded a standard size crumb cake card base, and now I can just adhere my embossed Coordinations cardstock piece. Center and stick this onto my card base. Okay. And now I have 3 strips of designer paper, excuse me, from the Candlelight Christmas Designer Series paper collection, and that's how I chose the colors for my sentiment. The colors in this designer paper are Lucky Limeade, Real Red. The background on all of them is very vanilla. And this uses early espresso. And this Coordinations cardstock that I used here is early espresso, or closer to early espresso as well. I don't have early espresso, so that's why I use chocolate chip on my sentiment, but I think that it coordinates quite nicely. And I'm going to be using these strips to make a really cute, fun little banner down the center of my card. Banners are everywhere in the Stampin' Up! Main catalog and in the holiday catalog, and they're so popular right now, and I personally think they're just adorable. So I'm going to put this on here one at a time. This largest one is going to go straight down the middle. And I'll just use my pencil to kind of eyeball where I think I want it to end and make a little tick mark. And I want these to be 3 different lengths. So we'll make this one significantly shorter, and then I'll bring this last one in. And it can be kind of a medium length. And when you're doing something like this, make sure that, try to make sure that you don't have it so it's like small, medium, large, because that's going to look kind of funny. Try to mix up the lengths a little bit, and that's also why I've chosen 3 completely different widths, and I just cut these at random. So I'm going to take these over to my paper cutter and just snip off the bottoms where I drew those little pencil lines. So now what I'm going to do is just snip a little banner end on all of these, and I like to do that by snipping up the middle and then cutting in from each side to meet the middle. This is really hard for me to do on camera. I usually have to do it right up next to my face to make sure that it's even. Okay, there's one, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2. Before I adhere them though, I want to add a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to take a pencil and press the pencil, or the paper, excuse me, in between the pencil and my finger, and just roll like that, and you can see how that just instantly gets that gorgeous edge, just like that. I'm going to do that on all of them. So to stick these down, all I'm going to do is put a little bit of snail adhesive right at the very top, and then the sentiment over top of the banners is going to kind of keep them from sticking straight up off the card. And we'll just get that nice little bit of curl at the bottom. Do the same thing with these two. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take my sentiment, and you can see that I tried stamping with the markers on the other side of this. I just want to eyeball where it's going to stick over so I don't put dimensionals on the wrong sides here. And now I can just place, I'm going to hold these down just gently while I place this exactly where I want it. Make sure it's nice and centered. That looks pretty good. Stick that down, and then you can see we get this nice dimension on the bottom of the card, but the sentiment holds it down really well. And I think that we are going to call this card project finished for today. So thanks so much for joining me for today's video, and I hope you'll come back tomorrow for day 7, the last day of Christmas in July. Thanks for watching, and happy stampin'. Bye-bye.